Hello, I would say pedal people, but that's wrong. We're looking at a field recorder. And if you are in the market for the Zoom F6 multi-track field recorder and you find this video, it's gonna be weird. Because you're probably expecting like a real in-depth review with stats and stuff. And what you're being presented with is two gorgeous looking presenters. Okay? Gorgeous. Beautifully dressed. Doing a stupid video where they hang out and talk about Zoom. Even though Kiana, who's back now, but if there's a first video you see because you're looking for a Zoom F6 field recorder, you don't know who Kiana is and why she's back.
True. How unfortunate.
Yeah. But we're not going to reveal who you are and why you're here.
No. I just walked in here. I have no idea what.
And that's what you usually wear, right?
I'm being held at gunpoint to say yes.
I gave you coffee. What hostage gets coffee?
I don't know. Maybe you want me to have like Stockholm syndrome or something.
It's a nice city.
I've never been.
Me neither. And yet, all of a sudden, the video is already weird. Leslie, could you show the whole outfits? Just so people know how great we are. I mean, come on. This is good stuff. If you are in the market for something ridiculous, you can go to mrgoogle.com and there's actually a coupon code under my videos. I do not get paid for this, by the way. I do not get affiliate money or anything.
That's the worst part about it. You shouldn't say that. It makes you look even more ridiculous.
I wear this stuff because it's funny. And I do have to say, I get the clothing for free. But if you go and use my coupon code and all that, I don't get any money. Kiana...
Why am I wearing this?
Kiana doesn't even get the clothing. No. This is Leslie's outfit, who loves it. So, we're looking at the F6. But first, let's look at the F8, which I've used for years. I know that Dan and Mick from that pedal show have used it for years. It's a very trusted field recorder. So, this is my F8 bag. You can get the bag extra, separately, whatever. And I even have the Zoom F control, which hooks up with USB, can be powered with batteries. I think there's some in here. No. And you can hook up a...
Let me do that.
You can hook up a keyboard, and then you can actually type in names and stuff through the keyboard, which is pretty great. So any USB computer keyboard will do. Here, you actually have monitor control over the channels, and you can say how much is coming out of the monitor and where, and you can actually set up the level for each channel beautifully. It's just a nice remote control to have on the table. If you're using it on the go and you're using it quite often, it's easier to control than on the little display. So this is right here. That's the F8. Rather small. You have to do your presenter. Yeah.
That's all I'm here for, really.
And I love this thing. It has like this battery compartment thing here. You unscrew that, take out the... Let me show you. I think I did this wrong. Now broke this, okay. So there's a little battery caddy that has 8 AA's in it. So you can power this with AA's and you can get another caddy to put in there. The whole screw mechanism is not great.
Yeah, you dropped a piece.
Yeah, that's fine. I broke it. It's a great recorder. It's got Bluetooth, and with an iPad, you can actually get that hardware controller in software. You can type in names, and you can do everything that you would do on the menu here in software, which is really, really cool. One of the greatest things is these extra microphones, like this. You can actually connect directly. You can actually directly connect the microphone to the face, and I have the microphone on it.
I hope you choke on that.
And there's different kind of microphones, and that's really damn cool. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a, as they say, turnkey, all-in-one, awesome hold system. 8 channels, and a lot of things I like as a recording engineer. 2 slots for SD cards, so you can do double recording. So if one SD card fails, so 2 SD card slots right there. You can do relay recording, double recording, record stereo on one, individual tracks on the other. There's tons of different setups. 4 combi plugs, and that's going to be interesting. Why combi? XLR or 1/4 inch. See, with a big hole in the middle. So same here. What I love is if you're only recording, let's say, 4 tracks, it can do something where you record 4 channels, but it actually records 8, and the second 8 are the first 4 again, but with a safer level. So why a safer level? Because you always want to have the highest level possible, because otherwise it sounds like crap. Okay, we're going to get into that. Bits, you know what a bit is?
Yeah, kinda.
Okay, we're going to get to that. But then it means if you have the highest level possible all the time, it means you get a really loud sound, and what happens?
It's übersteuert.
It's übersteuert. It distorts.
That's the word.
Yes.
Thank you.
The Übersteuerung.
Yes, it übersteuers.
Yeah, it distorts. So that way you can actually record on the other 4 channels the same signal, but with a more safe level. So if where it distorted, then you can go and grab the audio from that track. It's just a great machine. It's got dual mini XLR outs for monitoring right there. Headphone out, sub out. There's a lot in this thing. However, this is bigger. So for a field recording guy, you kind of need the bag. You're not going to strap that under your camera. However, it does have tons and tons and tons of great options. I love this thing. Before I used this Roland thing, which is also not cheap, and I always had problems with the levels coming back. With the Zoom, remember when we were in the bathroom with 5 people recording ukulele songs? We recorded that on the F8. I use the F8 anywhere I go for mobile recording. Now they have the F6, which is how many less? It is 2 less. You get coffee for that. Good job, Kiana.
Thanks. Do you pat me on the head now?
Good job.
Okay.
Good job doing the math.
Thank you.
No idea why anyone would watch this. So,
honestly, it beats me.
here is, she said it beats me, not he beats me. It wasn't a cry for help. It was not a cry for help! Don't do that. Don't do that.
Isn't there like a blinking code? Like if you need help, like blink 5 times. That was 6, I think.
Yeah, but you wouldn't do that right next to your captor, and then talk about it.
Depends on how smart he is. But...
Here's the F6. Oh, Zoom's gonna love me for this video. So on point. Now I was really looking forward to this, and I'm torn, like Natalie Imbruglia.
Yeah.
Get it?
Actually, the bad thing is I was thinking the same, and I'm like, don't think that, Kiana. He's gonna say it, and then he said it, and now I just hate myself.
I'm friends with the guitar player that played for Natalie, and I met him at Using Kettner, so I'm just like reciting the whole lyrics to him. I'm like, you torn? You know, perfect sky, you know? And then he played the song a billion times. He looks at me like...
That's wonderful. So that's a beautiful story.
So in the box, you have the F6. You have batteries. Well, it needs 4. So at the bottom, same idea. It's much smaller thing. You can see.
That's what she said.
No, she did not say it's much smaller. So you can take this out. Okay, she might have said that. And there's a box with 4 batteries. 1 set is included. And let's see what else is in the box. But so size comparison. Done.
That was impressive.
Yeah, look at it. So it's considerably smaller. It is, if we see it from the side, a little bit higher. Can you take me high enough? It's the 80s.
I wasn't born then.
Interestingly, it rolls because it has these rubber things. I don't know why.
It's not meant for rolling.
I don't think it's meant for rolling. It has 1 SD card slot And I really like the double SD card slotting. But, okay, fine, there's no space. So 3 and 3. And what do we notice, Kiana?
They're different than the other one.
How are they different, Kiana?
Like that big hole in the middle. I don't know stuff.
Yes.
I'm not here because I know stuff. I'm here because I don't. Right?
They're missing the big hole.
Yeah.
So that means you can only use XLR cables with this. So on the other one, I can go in with a line signal. Let's say I have a drum computer, a DJ thing, an iPhone with a cable adapter, whatever. So I can go in with a line signal or a guitar if I wanted that. Here, you can only use an XLR cable. So technically, only... I'll be right back. Entertain the people.
Help me. I'm actually being held hostage. Everyone that knows me would know I would never wear something like this on my own accord. I'm being forced, obviously. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. This is not very entertaining. I mean, I basically don't know anything about the Zoom F6. Yeah, I'm just gonna sit here and drink coffee. Stare at you uncomfortably long.
Did you entertain the people?
Yeah, and then I started staring at the camera uncomfortably long just to make everyone feel really weird.
Okay, nice. So this can only take XLR, which kind of shows me... There's my Noodle. Hey, Noodle! Hello! Hello, what are you looking for? What are you looking for? So this is an indicator that this is primarily meant for... What's with all the dogs? For field recording of mic sources. You're filming something somewhere and you're miking something. You're not playing guitar into it, which is probably for most people doing field work less interesting. They're probably not going to record a DJ. This is for videographers or sound designers that want to record mic sources.
Yeah.
It's got a line out, and sadly, it doesn't have Bluetooth, which is really cool to hook the app up. Hook up the app. Hook the app.
Are you having a stroke?
Can you say it?
Hook the app up.
If you want to hook the app up, do it. You need the additional little Bluetooth module. Don't know how much that is, but then you have to plug that in there. I really like the app, so I would have gotten it with it.
What does the app do? What's the app for?
Monitoring the levels. The app pretty much looks like this. So you have faders for monitoring.
Oh, I think I remember that. Yeah.
You have faders for monitoring. You can set up the levels. You can go into a menu and say the next session is called this and this. If you want to do this on the menu here, that's a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
Okay. You of course have individual level controls here on each one. Works beautifully. It doesn't have the dual XLR out. It's got a time code out, it's got a headphone out, but a small one, not a big one. Whatever they're called, it's a something 3 something instead of a 6 something. And the line out, again, is a smally mini pluggy. It's not a dual XLR, and it doesn't come with an adapter as far as I know. So the whole package is relatively small. It is. Let me see what's in here. See, there are no extra cables, there's no adapter, no anything. So you'd have to get this. It comes with this. And that...
Das ist ein Ständer.
No, this screws on here.
Oh, okay.
And then you can put your camera on top.
Okay.
And this under the camera is definitely not the big-ass klotz. It's not the big-ass thing that the F8 would be.
Okay.
So you can actually, if you see this right there, put this on here, then put a camera on top of it, and then you have a 6 XLR field recorder under your camera. And the thing that excites me the most, to be honest, is this bit.
You can like slide something in there.
What can you...
Oh my goodness. You know, I haven't been doing this like outside of here.
Wait, doing what? Please specify.
The jokes.
Ah.
The jokes.
Okay.
I'm actually funnier in real life.
So
not as sad.
I have Sony NPF batteries for a lot of things around the studio because of video. So videographers have these Sony batteries, which come in different thicknesses, whatever. Now I have the big ass ones because I need stuff to last a long time. So they look like this. They're almost as big as the whole thing. But with this battery, I can very likely power this for days.
That's cool.
So if you're a videographer and you have these Sony batteries, and if any videographer has gear that uses them, like that screen, that Atomos screen I have, uses this, and so on, then you have these around. So now it got heavier and quite a bit bigger, but now I can power this for days, and that is great. Not having to rely on the little batteries, because this doesn't have an external input except for, no, it's got, DC, 5 volt. It's got a USB-C, which can possibly also power it, which isn't bad, so you can use a power bank as well with 5 volts. But this is killer, because this battery has so much power. And then how do we even turn this on? Oh, here, there's an on thing. So this is how it powers on. I mean, a 6-track XLR field recorder with phantom power in this size, in the quality that Zoom provides, is pretty damn amazing. As you can see, it does not offer a hookup for those mics. If you wanted that, you have to get the F8. The H6 also takes those extra mics. So if you don't, I mean, if you're using this with XLR cables and your mics, then likely your mics are of a different quality than what Zoom can provide. It's nice that Zoom has these plasticky kind of mics, and they're like $150, $200, maybe even 100, depends. But this is a more pro application. Yeah. So someone using that probably doesn't use the Zoom mics. Bit. Let's cover that. You're not going to hear any recording with this versus the F8. Realistically, the F8 does a fine job. It sounds great. It's noise-free, all this. Does it sound as good as a studio recording with, let's say, Universal Audio Apollo, which is what I use in the studio as my A to D converter and mic preamps? No. How much difference can you tell? Probably not a lot. This is nerdy stuff. Signal to noise, dB, all those things. Nerd stuff. It's all about what you put into it. It's all about what, no, I mean, you know, if the performance is good, the recording quality, if good, wait, Kiana, where are you going?
I'm gonna join Leslie.
But I was gonna explain bits to you.
Okay.
Let me tell you about my bits. No, Kiana, come back! Come back here! No, really, I'm gonna talk about bits.
Oh my, I can't believe I'm wearing this.
You are.
So bad.
So good. So, bits are a way to encode something. That's computer language stuff, okay? So, standard is, let's say 8-bit. That is 8 ones and zeros, okay? How many possible numbers can you encode, like normal Arabic numbers, decimal numbers, can you encode with 8 bits? Do you know how bits work?
No.
Okay. So you have 8 zeros. That is 0.
Okay.
Okay? You have 7 zeros and a 1.
That's a 1.
That's a 1.
Okay.
Okay? You have 6 zeros, 1 0. That would be a 2. Okay? So the second decimal, the second point, would be the number 2. And then if you want a 3, you'd have 0 0 0 0 0 0 1 1. Because then you're adding the 2 and the 1.
Oh,
you get it? Okay?
Okay. Wow, that's really
The next one, the
complicated.
next 0 in line would be a 4.
Uh-huh.
So by itself, so 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, that's a 4.
Oh,
Okay, and you can do a 5 by doing 1, 0, 1 at the end.
okay.
You can do a 6 by doing 1, 1, 0 at the end, because that's the 4 and the 2. You get it?
Yeah, roughly.
Okay. So each of the ones or zeros stands for 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. No, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 20. Wait, what am I doing? 32, 64,
Mm-hmm.
and then 128.
Yeah. Okay.
So the highest that you can encode with 8 bits are 128 different values.
Uh-huh.
And MIDI, musical instrument digital interface, is an 8-bit protocol. So that means why on synthesizers, for example, you see banks of 128 sounds.
Okay.
Because you can't do more, you can't encode more than 128.
Okay.
MIDI volume is only 128 different volumes.
Mm-hmm.
Because in MIDI, you can't encode more than 128 different volumes. Actually, less than that if you count 0, and it's 127.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
So in MIDI, you often see 127, 128, depending on how they count it. So 8-bit audio, old Nintendo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The bit rate is the different volumes.
Okay.
The sampling frequency, 44, 1K, whatever, is how many times a second you take a sample of the audio. So let's say 44.1, you've heard that, right? CD audio quality. That means you're taking 44,100 times a second. You're taking a volume of the sound. So what I'm saying right now, okay, per second you would uptast. You would sample. Okay, yeah, you would sample 44,100 volume points. Okay? Now imagine I'm writing down, volume 5, volume 7, volume 10, volume 15, and so on. And that's 44,100 times. And I have these different points in height, in level. And then you take a pencil and you draw the different points. What do you get? You get a waveform.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's how it's done.
Okay.
So if you have a lower sampling frequency, 22.5, then 22,500 times a second, you sample, you take a sample of the volume and you write it down. And the way that you write that down is in a number, and the number is in bits. Okay, so let's say we have 8 bits, 44,100, that means 44,100 times a second, we write down 8 bits.
Okay. Yeah.
So a wave file of 1 second means you have 44,100 numbers. Volumes. With 44,100 volumes, okay? And if those are 8-bit volumes, doesn't take up that much space, right?
Yeah.
Because you're only writing 8 ones and zeros. But it also means you only have 128 different volumes.
Okay.
And consider that it goes up and down. That actually means you only have 64 plus and 64 minus.
Yeah.
Okay? For the full waveform.
Yeah.
That's not a lot of resolution. Okay? That's not enough resolution to really play a realistic sound, which is when you hear those 8-bit sounds, those Mario sounds, they sound very grainy, right?
Yeah.
They sound very...
Exactly like that.
But you know what I mean.
Yes.
And they have kind of this noise on it, right? Like a crackly kind of 8-bit ADZ
Yeah.
noise. 16-bit. There's a trick question coming.
Okay.
Does 16-bit mean you have twice the resolution?
No, you'd have more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because with every 0 you add, you're going double.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay, good.
So, hold this. With 16-bit, of course, I know this by heart. With 16-bit,
definitely not. Wait, where's the camera?
Damn it, Leslie! I mean, with 16-bit, you can encode how many? How many?
Let me think. Let me do the maths in my head. Like 65,536.
Wow! You're good.
I got really good at maths.
Yeah, awesome. So you can see that all of a sudden 8-bit gives us 128. And then you add another 8-bit, which is only twice the storage you need. But you're adding so much more resolution to the volume.
Yeah, okay, I get it.
You're adding ridiculous amounts of resolution. Okay. The problem is with 16-bit recording, which is what the F8 does, and a lot of, 16-bit is the standard. That's CD standard. Okay. The problem is when you are in those upper bits, meaning you're recording as loud as you possibly can. Okay. Then you're using most of the bits. Okay, you're recording. This is the maximum, and you're recording right here. Then you're using most of the bits, which is where you have a lot of resolution, and it sounds totally fine. You have really, really detailed differences between the volumes. When you're recording more quietly, all of a sudden, you're not using this huge bit range. You're all of a sudden recording 8-bit audio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The lower you get in your volume, the more you're getting to the point where you're actually only using 10-bit, 12-bit, 8-bit. And all of a sudden, you have this digital noise floor. You have this Mario sound again. Okay? So your goal is, with 16-bit recording, meaning an audio interface, a DAW, a mobile recorder, anything that does 16-bit, your goal is to always record as loud as possible to not get into this low bit range digital noise crap.
Yeah.
But then again, what's the problem when you're trying to record as loud as possible? Übersteuert. Distortion. With analog tape, when you're going above what it can handle, it slowly distorts. And even distorts in a way that's pleasant, which is why people say, oh, analog sounds so good. So when you're pushing analog tape, it doesn't go, it goes, you know, it does, but not, you know, that's the difference.
I'm a bit scared.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It distorts warmly. When you go above what you can record digitally, all it does is it gives you the maximum number of volume, 65536.
Okay.
And then the next one, when you go higher, 65536, 65536, it just doesn't go in. It can't encode any more volume.
Yeah.
And digital distortion sounds really bad.
Okay, yeah.
So for years, it's been a Drahtseilakt.
Wow.
English, go. Drahtseilakt.
I don't know. Wire string act.
A balancing act. Thank you. Nice job.
That's just the literal translation. You're welcome. Oh God, I want to throw up.
It's been for years. It's been a balancing act to get the highest possible recording volume while not distorting and not having too low volume.
Okay, yeah.
Which is why on the F8 it's nice that you can have really high volume, but then record on the other channels if you're not using them, and record a second version that's at lower volume.
And that's that safe.
That's the safe
volume.
Yes.
Safe recording. Yeah. Okay.
So
cool.
you wouldn't use that lower volume for the whole recording because it might be too low in the lower parts.
Yeah.
When you're too quiet. But if it's distorting, you can go to the other file, grab the bit of it, and have a safe recording.
Okay, I get it.
Okay? Now, this records in 32-bit, which of course we know by heart. So when you have 32 ones and zeros, every single one goes double. And that's like the thing with the rice on the chessboard. What? You don't know the story?
No. Rice on the chessboard?
There's like old story somewhere in the Middle East, something like a farmer was to do something for a king, and then I don't know what it was, and he said, "Yeah, okay." And the king said, "What do you want your payment to be?" And the guy said, "I just want rice, and I want you to start with one rice corn on the first piece of the chessboard, and then double it for every piece of the chessboard."
Okay.
And that's how much rice I want. And the king was like, a piece of cake. I give him some rice, double for each piece on the chessboard. And he thought he gets away cheaply because he didn't calculate it. And the farmer did the job, and then I don't know what it was. And in the end, if you do this, the last piece on the chessboard would be more rice than there is in the whole world.
Really? That's crazy.
Well,
I don't know how many.
8 by 8, 64.
64. Okay.
Right? Yeah,
I honestly, I don't know. I don't play chess.
Chessboard is 8 by 8 or 10 by 10.
We're so smart.
I don't know. We don't know things. But if it's 8 by 8, 64, right?
Yeah.
So that's 64-bit. Because that's what we're talking about.
Okay,
1, 2, 4, it gets double.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if 32-bit is 2 billion...
Yeah, that's insane
then
amount.
60, we're talking about... So 2 billion, blah, 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 and then you do the next one.
Okay.
And then that's twice that, and the next one, we're talking about more rice than there's in the whole world. So this is like the parable, the story. Okay?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, we're talking about a resolution in volume for our sample. There's a long video about bits.
Yeah.
Okay? That is more finely fine in resolution than you would need. You don't need, you can make sound with 8-bit. You can make beautiful music. All the CDs we have are 16-bit.
Yeah.
With 65,000 resolution. Now look at this, 2 billion.
Yeah.
65,000 is what you need to make beautiful music and make it sound good. Why in the world would you need 2 billion resolution? The trick is, you don't need that, but that's called the headroom.
Okay.
Meaning, if you're recording, kind of where you always recorded with 16-bit, like pretty hot, just at the edge of Übersteuerung, at the edge of distortion. Then,
okay.
And you're at 65,000. And now you make it a little bit louder where it would distort. Do you think it would distort if your headroom is...
Well, obviously not.
Obviously not. You can go quite a bit louder.
That's cool.
Okay, so same thing in Cubase. Cubase, was a 16-bit and it was difficult. Like, let's say you added an EQ and you boost a little bit on the EQ, or you add a compressor and you crank it up a bit. All of a sudden it was distorting. And then they went to 24-bit and 32-bit recording. Now the trick is, you don't record in 32-bit. You record in 24, which gives you a lot of nice resolution. But then in Cubase, internally, it's doing the processing in 32-bit, which means, let's say you add a plugin on it. And that plugin adds volume. You're doing an EQ and you're boosting the mids or whatever. And that adds volume, right?
Yeah.
You can add anything you want. It'll never distort.
Okay, I get it.
Back in the day, I added an EQ, added something, and then you had to take the fader down a bit because it was too loud. And you always had this balancing act of you add a compressor or whatever, and now it's distorting and taking the fader down. Literally, when you're in Cubase and it's all in the freaking red, completely red, there's still no distortion because it's using this huge number headroom to not distort. And this is why this is brilliant. Brings us back after an hour, because the F6 does internal 32-bit recording, which means there's literally no way to distort this thing.
Nice.
Okay? So if they set up these knobbies to be, if you're like all the way on the top, to be, let's say, at using the full 24-bit range. So let's say this is like all the way on the top, full power, and I'm yelling into the mic, and it's using the full, let's say, 24 bits. Well, then there's still so much resolution left that it'll never distort. Which means no headache when you're out there recording. No coming home with distorted parts, which that's the problem I had with this all the time. Coming home and having gone somewhere, having recorded something, having, spent the time and the money to go somewhere, and then I come home with something like, oh, damn it, it distorted. Or it was way too quiet because I needed the balancing act.
Yeah.
With this, I don't care.
Okay.
I set it up, that's about fine. But even if you're setting it up relatively quietly, quiet with 2 billion means I'm using, 300 million. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not in the 8-bit range. I'm never getting to using the 128 possible values. I'll never get into the digital noise floor. I never get into the Mario sounds.
Okay.
I know this was very long, and if you knew all this stuff, then I'm sorry.
But I learned something.
And this is why this is amazing. If you need to depend on the audio to come home and not be distorted, if you don't want to continuously fiddle with the knob, when you see your what?
Nothing.
That was you. Okay, I didn't even think about it. That was all you, lady.
I'm ashamed.
Yes, you should be ashamed. Boo, Kiana.
Continue, please. Let's ignore this.
So you continuously see the sound guys when they have their boom and they have their recorder. You see them a lot adjusting the volumes. They're talking quietly, they're cranking it up.
Okay.
They're talking loudly, they're cranking. They always have to.
You don't have to do that.
You don't have to do this. You set it up kind of in a safe area, and you come home with a 32-bit file.
Cool.
So pretty much the bottom line of the F6, this could have been a 2-minute video. 32 bits amazing because you're safe. Come home with files you can use. Having the NPF battery is killer. You don't need the big ass one. This kind of defeats the purpose of having a small recorder. They come in much smaller, but that means you can have rechargeable batteries. And if you're somewhere on set, chances are that someone has a Sony NPF battery for their camera, for their screen, for their anything. I use them for my sliders, for Edelkrone. So yeah, this is killer. I think it's a bummer that they didn't give it combi jacks. Because really, what would it have taken to do that? A line mic switch and a combi. I mean, for me, it's kind of sad because I need adapters to go in with. If I'm like at a trade show, I might want to record a backing track coming from my phone, and now I need mini. Okay. So this is killer, and I'm totally going to use the living crap out of that. I wish it had Bluetooth built in, but this is something they're doing now on a lot of their devices, where they're all Bluetooth ready. You don't pay for it until you actually need it.
Okay,
they're doing this on their little guitar processors. And so every Zoom device has Bluetooth capability, but you're not paying for it until you need it. Okay, why not? Thank you, Zoom. I did get this recorder for the video. Nothing else. Kiana got really nothing other than the pleasure of being here. And Leslie wasting time up there switching. She's probably playing on her phone. Are you playing on your phone, Leslie?
I'm trying not to kill myself because that was the most boring thing I've ever had to sit through.
But now you learned something about bits. Leslie, how many numbers can you encode with 8-bit?
Who cares?
I had to study that. That was literally part of exams I had to do.
Oh, it's your own fault for studying that. Really.
Look how red I am. We're going to eat now, and then we're going to make more videos. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Kiana, for being you. Thanks, Leslie, for being you. Thanks to the dogs. Thanks to Zoom. And links below. Please use them. That really helps me. It doesn't help her at all. And what did we say?
Follow me on Instagram.
Follow her on Instagram.
Animals at the end.
That's not what
we say.
How do they find you on Instagram?
Oh yeah, you can just like put in my handle here, Kiana Nicolette. Have fun editing.
And yeah, what she said.
the sea. I can't tell love from devotion when you stand so close to me. Tell me the secret of your eternal beauty. Wanna know your potion. I wanna bathe in your sea. I wanna dive in your ocean.